speaking on finding the balance in leadership.
Finding the balance in leadership. And your audience is
Corporate leaders.
corporate leaders. And Denise, the name of your company?
Ignite Coaching.
Ignite Coaching. So everyone welcome Denise Hall with Ignite Coaching.
Can I ask real quick, if you don't mind, as well as so this is what, 10 minutes, 15 minutes?
Yeah, so I'm going to give them a total of 20 minutes. And that will be 10 minutes for their presentation and then 10 minutes for feedback. We'll have you lead us in feedback.
Okay, and then are you planning 10 minutes? Is that what you plan?
Planning would be a gracious word.
Okay.
12 to 15.
Okay, got it. So technically, if we do 15, then we're going to have 5 minutes of feedback? I just want to make sure.
I can cut you off at 10 o'clock.
Okay.
Now, will you give me the sign at 10?
I will give you a sign at 10.
Okay.
And then the context of this, of the big overview, what is the purpose of your...
Yeah, so this is totally new, okay? So what my desire to do is to bring in my experience as a leader and in coaching leaders into my speaking. Okay, so this is a new direction and content. It's rough. I just want y'all to know that it's still free form thinking.
Okay, and then if you don't mind, and this is for everybody that's going to be speaking today. As far as the context, okay, so you have 10, 15 minutes. We're corporate leaders in the room.
Right.
Obviously, a lot of speeches are 20 to a couple hours. What is the objective of this particular session? We're here, and you're going to talk to us about what? Because there's so much content I'm sure that you're sharing.
So it's ramping self-awareness.
Okay.
And this is part of a 3-part speech where they will be able to self-assess where they are with balance. The well-balanced leader is really the overall point. Okay? Is that helpful? Okay, it's rough. So good morning.
Good morning.
Is it just me, or can this leadership thing be kind of tough on any given day? Be a little bit daunting, or not for the faint of heart. So I have found that as a leader, and I've certainly heard a lot about that in working with leaders. So today I want to share with you my experience both in leading teams through change and uncertainty, and in working with leaders all the way from the most highly effective leaders to those leaders who are stuck and struggling, and everywhere in between. And in doing that work, I think I've come up with kind of a formula I'd like to share with you for what's the right balance as a leader. How do I know that I'm getting it just right? So I'm going to share this formula with you, and we'll see what you think. So one of the challenges that I have experienced personally, and I hear a lot about, is this challenge of balancing head and heart. So some leaders are really gifted at focus on task. And so they may be really good at casting the vision, setting strategic priorities, organizing the work, delivering on results. They can do that all day long. And sometimes they may be overlooking some discretionary effort by not connecting truly with employees. And at worst, they may be leaving bodies on the highway. Anyone ever know any leaders like that? They're getting the results, but they're leaving bodies on the highway. So maybe too much focus on task, not enough on relationship. And likewise, there are those leaders who are so focused on relationship. They're a great coach, counselor, friend, but decisive, strategic priorities, casting a vision, not so much, which can lead to frustration or creating what matters most. Let me see, because my leader's not pointing the way. So too much focus on relationship can leave people confused and frustrated. Sheila, how do you get that right? How do you balance this head and heart, this task and relationship, right? Is it just me, or is that sometimes tough? Can it be a struggle? So I'm so lucky in the work that I get to do. And I feel like I'm especially gifted for this work because I hear voices. And not just in my own head, but I hear voices in the heads of others. Okay, and what I want to do is kind of bring some of those on stage and spotlight some of those voices, those saboteur voices that sound like fear and get in the way for leaders. So one leader comes to mind, Claire. She was there when the doors opened in the call center. She was responsible for building it from the ground up, organizing the work, hiring the people, reaching out to the customers, making it all work. And she did an excellent job. Stellar results. And 6 years later, that release of power that should have happened from startup to 6 years in, it was never released. So she's still highly directive, making all the decisions. Everything has to run through me. High control. High control. And what is that leading to? Complaints to HR. People resigning right and left. No successor for her role. And so she's having this awareness now that what got me here won't get me there. But letting go, man, that feels like rest. And what is that voice sounding like? See if you've ever heard a voice in your own head like this. It may say, oh, taking my foot off the pedal, letting off the gas. They won't work hard enough. They won't continue the stellar results. They don't care enough to get it done like I do. My career's riding on this. My reputation is riding on this. I can't let off the gas. And what I've seen many times in working with leaders like Claire is, once there's this realization, there's a letting go that happens that feels more like abdication. So now you have all the decisions. I'll remove myself because I've gotten scolded. I'm removing myself, and you can make all the decisions. No input, no proactive coaching. Now you own it. Good luck with that. So the pendulum swings too broadly sometimes with that kind of change. And so we're working on that balance and trying to get that right. Another leader comes to mind, Kent. Really competent, confident, successful leader. And his people are doing well. And yet, they want more of him. Not from him, of him. They want to know who he is, what he stands for, what he'll go to the mat for, what really matters to him. And yet that feels risky. I don't want to burden them with me. It just feels uncomfortable. I don't want to go there. That's what his voice says. Don't burden them with you. They've got their own issues to solve, to care about. They don't care about what's going on with you. Don't burden them. Don't open the kimono. They don't want to see it. That's what his voice is saying. That saboteur voice that's sometimes on stage. And so it feels like risk. And then there's another leader. That was me. Not so long ago, leading a corporate team. Oh, I'm a coach. I use empathy and esteem, and I'll catch you doing something right. A really nice person to work for. But what should we focus on? It all seems like a priority. And where do we make the tough calls and where do we not? And are we allocating resources appropriately given the priorities? We're not really sure. But she's very nice. What's that voice saying? You want to be approved of and liked at all costs. Telling someone, no, you can't take vacation time, paid vacation, to do work for a nonprofit all week, that feels like risk. She won't let me. And I may need her help. So that's the voice that's on stage. So how do you get this head, heart, task, relationship thing right? It's tough. It can be confusing on any given day. I really think it's understanding the balance, the beauty of that knife's edge balance, that it's both, it's not an either or, and it's knowing when to toggle between the two. So, not too much, not too little, work to keep it right down the middle, and know when to toggle between the two. That's it.
So Waldo, if you would just lead us in some feedback, and then whatever time is left, we'll bring in the others.
So, I think for, your first time doing that, it was really, really good. Number one, I think you're a natural speaker. You know how to connect. Did you notice she was getting good eye-to-eye contact with folks? She walked through nice pauses. Very impressive, by the way. Have you been speaking professionally in the past?
Not professional.
Okay, because you're a coach and you know how to connect with people.
And I've been a trainer for
Right. And so, but I see you totally kind of elevating that. I really liked it, and I think the content is extremely relevant. It's a very, can you guys relate? Like, how do you, the empathy, the connection. I love hand, heart, task, and relationship. So key. So a very relevant topic in the emotional intelligence aspect of the workplace. Very critical. And so in that broad sense, I just like your style, right? And you just seem like a professional. A couple other things that could kind of, what did you guys think of that? Did anybody notice anything else that she did that felt the connection? I'd like to keep this kind of flowing.
Very natural, engaging to begin with.
Yeah.
Right?
Good pauses.
Yeah, I like the pauses a lot.
Yeah.
I like bringing in your own vulnerability with your challenge.
Yeah, I wasn't sure about that. That kind of sucked.
I like your smile too.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Oh, but excellent. The smiling, the vulnerability is so important, right? That's the marinade of the statement content. When you're vulnerable, when you're showing a little bit, you're exposing your chest to daggers. We call it in the fighter world. Hey, I'm exposed. And so when you do that, people are like, I'm connecting with her. Because a lot of times when the speaker, the one up in front, they're the expert. Most of the time they're talking about their successes. When you share your failure, or your vulnerability, your lack of perfection, you connect more. You're allowing folks to trust you. And I'm sharing feedback to you, but I'm doing it for everybody.
Right.
Because you always ask yourself, can I trust you? When you first open up, can I trust you? Will you earn me the next minute before I go on my cell phone, before I start looking outside, wondering if the hurricane's going to come, I start thinking about my kids or whatever, right? So you're constantly earning that, right? So anything else that you did that you liked as far as her connection, her speaking style, the pauses, the eye contact, the smiling?
I like the questions, kind of putting those questions out to us and giving us a little bit of time with the pause to kind of, think, a little bit, maybe how that relates to me. So I thought the questions were good. Have you thought about moving in?
I thought your metaphors were good. The body's along the highway.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, what got me here won't get me there. I like that.
The kimono reference.
Yeah. And then you went like this, you went, right? And so that being said, so some of the things, and this comes with time and experience and feedback, not necessarily from the corporate audience, who most of the time they're going to say, oh, she's great. But when you really get down to it, these are the scenarios, your peers, the folks who are willing to throw some daggers at you.
Yes.
That's why this is so important.
I know.
So certain things you just have to be careful with.
Okay.
Right? Because if you distract folks from your content by a statement that you say, you may lead them down a path of that will diffuse your content. For example, exposing your kimono, opening the kimono, and that's a relatively common thing. But then, so what are you going to do? If I go like this, right, open the kimono, right, you're potentially thinking, what's underneath the kimono? Does it have a hairy chest or not? I mean, potentially, right?
I was thinking I didn't want to see Kent's package.
But here's the thing that got me thinking of that. The body's on the highway. The body's on the highway. And I get it proverbially, right? The body's on the highway. You said it a couple times. I get it. You're causing the casualties, right?
Right.
And so when you're thinking bodies on the highway, what are you thinking of when you think of bodies on the highway? Bodies on a highway.
Carnage,
right? Carnage. It's like, right? You know? And so I'm not saying it's a bad analogy.
Okay.
But you may consider another analogy that's less distracting potentially,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
And because it's like, ooh, it's kind of, and now they're potentially distracted. They're thinking, does that make sense?
It does.
And so that's what I'm saying. And the kimono thing is more common, you know, but there may be some different vernacular. For example, I'll show PowerPoint slides like that are pretty provocative, like very emotionally compelling. I'll talk about, I'll show it, and then I'll go to the next slide, and I'll go to a neutral slide. Because what happens if you keep the slide? For example, it's somebody on the edge of a cliff looking down, right? Because I'm afraid of heights as well as claustrophobic. So I'm looking down. So if I keep that slide up there, and then I'm starting to talk about my content, what are people doing sometimes? They're looking up at the slide. What mountain is that? Oh my God, I'd be freaking out about it.
Yeah.
Holy crap. And they're distracted, right? So with your words, you got to be careful with your with distracting, and then also with your PowerPoint if you use it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it
And
does.
so you got to, don't lead them down the highway. But there are times you want to be very productive, emotionally compelling with your words. You want it to be a dagger, a slap in the face, a hug. So choose your words very carefully, but I love that you did that. I saw the analogy, the kimono, bodies on the highway, but you may want to think about something a little different.
Yeah.
That could detract from your message. Okay? Got it? So when you walk out there, you know, good morning, you know, and I want you to always, when you're up here, I want you to picture getting paid $5,000, $10,000, $20,000. This is an important client. Right? I want you to imagine that. If you don't manifest it in your head, it won't happen, by the way. You've got to imagine it. You've got to say, I'm out here, I've got that $5,000, $2,500, $10,000 check that people are expecting. So I'm giving you, from my perspective, of a high-level keynote speaker, which everybody would love to do, right? Everybody want to make 5, 10, 20 grand?
Yeah. Yes, please.
So good morning, and I'm not saying I get it. Good morning is nice. I'd rather you say good morning than thank you for having me here. It's such a great day to be here, right? That's a little cheesy.
Yeah.
And so you kind of gave a broad overview, and I know this was relatively, you know, you were just throwing the stuff out there. But imagine if you came out there and said, you know, something like, I want to share with you 3 leaders, Claire, Ken, and blah, blah, blah. And each leader has blah, 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 or meet Claire. Claire is a leader that you may know of. She's been the 20-year HR leader and blah, 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 and she's in that meeting room and she's blah, blah, blah. Get right into a potential story, right? Get right into something and get us emotionally and mentally connected with you as you take us on this journey. So imagine you just walk out here. Meet Claire, 30-year veteran, blah, blah, blah. So now you craft the story, and then you talk about Claire, Ken, and you, and then say, what I just shared with you were 3 unique individuals who have a challenge. It's called balance. The balance between head and heart, teacher or relationship. Did you notice those 3 in there? And so for the next hour, I want to share with you some tools and techniques that I learned as a leadership consultant and coach in corporate America, just like you, and even more importantly, as a 35-year-old beautiful woman from Georgia who has been blah, 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 right? You guys with me? So give us the ingredients. Have us smell the aroma of the cake that you're about to put in the oven, or, right? And then go into it, right? So show us the steak, show us the thing, have us smell it, and then we're going to give you bites of that cake and steak here in the next hour, okay? So roll us in, get get us involved, show us it, and then grab it from there. Does that make sense?
Oh,
Okay.
yes.
Any comments, thoughts on that? Because I know we have limited time.
That's okay, and I think our third speaker is not here.
Right.
Yes, okay, so we're gonna give you guys the full 25 minutes. I think that'll be fun. One of the comments there, one of the statements I made was, it felt like you were selling me the idea of what we were talking about in the very beginning.
Okay.
And so I was struggling to actually get into. Yeah, so I was saying, because there was a lot of, like, even pronouns like we or they, it didn't stick inside of me. So what he just described would do just that. So
really powerful.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
I love that suggestion.
Because that initial opening,
Yeah.
that is going to say, this woman means business, I'm not
Yeah.
going to waste my time.
Right.
Or is this just another speaker and stuff? And so you're learning this new segment, right?
Yeah.
Congratulations and kudos to you for getting up there and
Opening the kimono.
Right.
Yes, thank you.
What else do you guys have?
Yeah, what
That was
else?
my point. So just in the beginning, like, why do people want to listen to us?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting, I think getting somebody to ask, so what, get somebody you trust, who will just kind of go through a script of a speech
Yeah.
and just say, so what, to every statement and see what happens,
Ooh,
what comes up for you there, I think is huge. I'll do really quick, so I love the concept of saboteurs. I don't know that the general public understands saboteur language.
Okay.
I don't know if that's true or not. I think that it's, once you kind of get through it, they get it.
Well, it's
but I think
coach speak.
It's
kind
coach
of.
speak.
I know, it
Yeah.
is. So
Yeah.
that's good.
There's others who speak it, but I think to your point, not everyone.
Yeah, I just wonder if the audience that would be part of their regular vocabulary.
So it would be also knowing the audience.
Yes.
Would be
Yeah,
part of that.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Or generalizing it.
And you can also, you know, you can even say, rather than saying, as a coach, as I've been this and that, so, you know, Joe was a leader I coached a few years back. He was blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. You know, so you're sharing an example of somebody that you coached, not necessarily saying that you coached, right? That you are a coach.
Oh, I see.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And so you're saying, and Claire was just like an executive I coached from a Fortune 100 firm right here in town, and you know, whatever. Maybe you can mention. I don't know if you. I'm sure you coached these particular people.
Yes, I've coached
Right.
these people.
These type of folks, right?
Yeah. It's not Fortune 100, but.
Right. Well, whatever.
Whatever, yeah, I know.
But Denise, I had wanted you to get into the meat, you know, a lot faster and work on audience takeaways. So I had a hard time pulling away what action plan am I going to take away as a result of your talk. And so looking for more structure, you know, in your presentation. So move it along. So say, okay, I remember this item right here, whether you use an acronym, you know, along with it or whatever.
Yeah.
But just be able to have a specific takeaway
Yeah.
that you can be working on for people to, you know, to be able to remember.
Yeah, you didn't really give us any takeaways, which could have been okay. I'm going to set the tone for the hour. I'm going to give that broad overview. But like he was saying, you know, maybe you say, so for the next hour, I'm going to talk about 3 distinct things that you can do to create balance in your life.
Yeah.
Number 1, blah, blah, blah. Number 2, blah, blah, blah. Number 3, and my objective.
It is that, and
Right.
I'm not, and you're right, I'm not saying that.
Are you pro that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're gonna do the 10-minute show.
Yeah, so
Okay, so,
I've been
yeah.
struggling with what
Yeah,
I'm speaking on then, and so this
Yeah.
well-balanced leader thing is kind of, you know, I'm the opposite of what's his name that does the unicycle. Off balance on purpose.
Yeah.
I'm well balanced. I'm the antithesis, but I don't do gymnastics.
And then Denise, something I brought up with other people in
Yes.
Speak Life, so some people have heard this before, is your script for your entire presentation written out?
No, I mean, I'll be honest, I constructed this on the drive over.
Okay.
that's pretty.
Okay.
That's dangerous.
Well,
There could be bodies on the highway.
Yeah. All right, we got one more minute, go ahead.
Okay, so anyway, my suggestion
Yes.
as you start working towards showcase, Because you have
Yes.
10 minutes and you only have 10 minutes, you gotta, be able to get into it. You have to know what that 10 minutes feels like to you internally, because you're not gonna have your notes.
I know.
That type of
And
thing.
you-
What I would suggest, and hopefully
Yes.
you're gonna be able to come to one of our other speaker labs and be able to
Oh,
go through
yeah.
it. Record yourself and use
Okay.
rev.com or something, send it in, get a script, and start working on the script. And not that you're gonna follow the script 100%, but you'll know what it feels like to
Yes.
be able to work with that script.
Yes, thank you.
And we're recording this, by the way.
Yes, we are, you'll have this,
Oh,
you'll have all
okay.
this.
Okay.
Yep.
One of the things, and I think it ties into what else has been said.
Yeah.
Is I wanted you to help me get memorable sound bites about what these particular personas are, and not just saying, head and heart, but to give them an identity that, the
Like
word
Claire
play.
the controller?
Well, to give them a personality type, so it may not be Claire the controller, but the controller type,
Right,
and the
Protecting
the
type.
likable leader, or things like that, so that
Right.
I can say, let's see, which one am I
the
most?
pleasing leader, the controlling
Right.
leader.
Yeah, and I think it
the
ties
distance leader.
into where am I gonna fall on that balance scale?
Yes,
And so I can begin to start, and people are gonna do this in the audience, when you're talking to leaders and you're describing these different leader personas.
and I want to have a self-assessment
They're
that
gonna
they can do.
spend half their time going, is that me?
Yes,
Is that me?
where would I
You
fall
know,
on
where
that?
would I fall
spectrum?
in that?
Yeah,
And to be able to let them, just like with any personality test, to
Yes.
give themselves a label, I'm a D,
Mhm.
so that they
Yeah.
they can start to stop assessing and listen more.
okay,
Right.
got it.
Great feedback.
All right,
Okay,
thank you so much.
All right, thank you very much.